Om Ishvaro Gururatmeti Muti Beda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyata Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om. This chant means we bow to Lord Dakshinamurti, the one who is seen as Ishvara, the Guru and the Atma separately, whose form is pervading the entire universe. Chapter 15 is entitled Purushottama Yoga, the yoga of the whole person. Brahman is the highest Purusha, the all-pervasive Atma in the universe. Brahman is all-knowing, all-powerful, all-pervasive, complete and eternal. In episode 6, the Tattvas, Brahman was presented as the 36th universal principle of creation. And in this chapter, these Tattvas are presented as an imaginary, upside-down, sacred Ashwatha tree. The primary root of this Ashwatha tree is above, Tattva 1 to 5, that represents the highest Purusha, which is beyond time, space, and has no gunas. The trunk and branches of this Ashwatha tree, Tattvas 13 to 36 are below, represents our body, mind, senses that depends upon Brahman for its existence and is bound by time, space, and has 3 gunas. This is a very important chapter as it shows that everything is Brahman. And by using the Tattvas as our guide, we develop dispassion, vairagya, towards our body, mind, senses and discover we are Satchit Ananda Atma Brahman. This discovery is Purushottama Yoga, yoga of the whole person. When we achieve this, we have fulfilled the purpose of our birth. We have gained moksha. Our endless cycle of birth and death, Samsara, comes to an end. Om Namah Shivaya. Episode 85, Chapter 15, verses 1 and 2, Our Life of Samsara. In verse 1, Sri Krishna, wishing to speak about Brahman, the all-pervasive Atma, the one absolute truth, presents the vision of our life of samsara through an imperishable Ashwatha tree. Ashwatam Prahu Abhyayam. Ashwatha means that which is changing all the time, but it is imperishable, Abhyayam, because it has secondary roots growing from its branches that attaches itself to the ground. Thereby, the Ashwatha tree does not die easily. Our life of samsara is likened to this Ashwatha tree. And our binding desires represents the secondary roots. Due to our ignorance, we are egoistic. We think that we have the power to fulfill all our desires and be happy. But this is not so. Desires here represents both what we like and what we dislike. Raga, Dvesha. When we do an action to fulfill our desires, fear sets in. Fear of not achieving what we like or fear of achieving what we dislike. Then anger, greed, lust, obsession, jealousy sets in when our desires are not fulfilled. Thereby, we experience life accordingly, and our life of samsara continues endlessly in ignorance. Second, the primary root of this Ashwatha tree is above, Urdhva Moolam. Above means it is beyond our comprehension. These are tattvas 1 to 5. And only when we identify ourselves as Satchit Ananda Atma at our primary roots, this is Purushottama Yoga, we have gained moksha. Third, however, we human beings are jivas because 1. We are under the spell of Maya, tattva number 6. We are deluded. 2. We are ignorant. We are covered by 5 cloaks, tattva 7 to 11. Thereby, we are no longer all-knowing, all-powerful, all-pervasive, complete and eternal. 3. Due to our past accumulated sanchita karmas, we are limited purushas, tattva number 12. These 3 factors are the cause of our life of samsara, which is likened to the trunk and branches of this Ashwatha tree that are below, Adha Shakam, Tattva 13 to 36. This is the Prakriti aspect of this creation, Sa Guna Brahma. We are under the influence of the 3 gunas. Fourth, the leaves of this Ashwatha tree represents the Vedas, Yasya Parnani Chandamsi. Just like leaves provide vitality and protective covering for a tree to flourish, similarly, the teaching at the beginning of the Rig, Yajur and Samaveda, the Karma Kanda section, provide teaching how to do various rituals to various deities to fulfill our various desires. Thereby, we keep accumulating further punyas and papas that provide vitality for our life of samsara to go on endlessly. Whereas the end of the Vedas is called Veda Anta. This is where the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita is, the Jnana Kanda. The Gita teaches in chapters 3 to 6 how to purify and steady our minds. Once we have achieved this, we are karma yogis. We have stopped the accumulation of further punyas and papas. Thereby, at the Purusha level, Tattva 12, we are no longer limited. Chapter 7 onwards is the knowledge of Brahman. Once we have gained the knowledge of Brahman, our ignorance is removed. The 5 cloaks are removed. Tattva 7 to 11. And finally, when the knowledge of Brahman is converted to wisdom, we are no longer under the spell of Maya. Tattva number 6. We are in oneness with Brahman. Tattva 1 to 5. This is Purushottama Yoga. Fifth, the one who knows Brahman in this manner is the knower of the Vedas. Yatam Veda Sa Veda Vid. The main thing the Veda wants to convey is Brahman is the absolute truth. Brahman existed before creation, Brahman exists now and will continue to exist even when the creation gets dissolved. This creation, including our body, mind, senses, is mithya, has no existence without Brahman. Once we are established in the knowledge and wisdom of Brahman, we are liberated. The Mahavakya Tattvamasi, we are, that becomes a reality. Verse 1 is a complete synopsis of chapter 15. And the remaining verses of this chapter elaborates on Brahman and how to end our life of samsara. Verse 2 describes what the branches of this Ashwatha tree represents. First, some of the branches spread out above and some spread below. Others cha urdhvam prasartas tasya sakha. Those branches that are spread out above represent celestial beings like Lord Indra, Brahaspati, Prajapati, and Devatas like Lord Brahma, the creator. Whereas those branches that are spread out below represents human beings, animals, and even stationary living beings like trees, etc. All these branches represent all living beings within samsara. Second, on the branches there are nodular buds, pravala, from which new branches can occur. In our life of samsara, desiring for sense objects, vishaya, are our nodular buds that gives vitality to our life of samsara. Desiring for sense objects, we do action to fulfill them, thereby accumulating further punyas and papas. And our life of samsara continues. Third, there are also secondary roots growing down from the branches. Others cha mulani. They are diffused and spread out everywhere. Anusantatani. They get rooted to the ground and they are well entrenched. These secondary roots represents our binding desires. And when we do actions to fulfill them, we get egoistic when our desires are fulfilled or angry when it is not. Thereby, our life of samsara continues. Fourth, we human beings are nourished by the three gunas, guna pravritta. And these three gunas are Ishvara's Maya Shakti, the efficient and material cause of this creation. According to our guna composition, we do action. And if we do actions that binds, karma anubandhini, we accumulate further punyas and papas. This keeps us bound in the world of mortals, manusya loke, and keep going on this endless cycle of birth and death. It looks as though our life of samsara are deeply rooted due to our binding desires and actions. But fortunately, all our actions depend upon Brahman, Atma, for its performance. By gaining the knowledge of Brahman and detaching ourselves from this body, mind, senses, we can identify ourselves at our primary root, Brahman, the Atma within, and be free. At verse 2, we shall take a break, and next, Sri Krishna explains the nature of Brahman and how to uproot our life of samsara. Please like, subscribe, and share these episodes with your friends and loved ones. So till then, Om Namah Shivaya.